Welcome to ET with GOTB. Well, the final WSL weekend of 2025 turned out to be a cracker. Let's get into it. I'm Rachel.
I'm Sophie.
And this is Extra Time with Girls on the Ball. For those of you on YouTube, your keen eyes may have noticed we are not at home. We are, of course, away for Champions League. We've chosen to come to Brussels for Arsenal against Leuven. A little bit selfishly because we've been to Wolfsburg 1,000,001 times. Juventus was just that little bit too far. We've been to Italy this summer and we kind of wanted to do some Christmas markets. So we are in a hotel ahead of that game on possibly the most uncomfortable seats in the most uncomfortable corner, but they were the only two kind of bench things that were the same. Otherwise, Sophie would have been on a big armchair and I would have been on a little stool, which would have been fine for you, but not for me. And yes, we have to point out that Sophie's not very well, so she gets extra brownie points for doing this podcast. If only she'd lost her voice, you might have gotten away with not doing one, but that actually
I'm ploughing through.
You're ploughing through. One more game for us, and we are on minimal hours of sleep. Very busy day yesterday, didn't we?
Yesterday was insane.
Which is why
I finally ticked off. Other than this, the last thing on my list. So
yeah,
phew.
It's why we're recording on Tuesday as well, because we had I think 19 things that all had to be done yesterday, and it involved travel and it involved rushing around London, but it's done, which we're pleased with, and it means you can sit and chat about the weekend's games, which turned out to be a really fun weekend.
Yeah,
actually.
Busy weekend,
quite a lot going on, which we'll of course get into. We will also discuss the table, the results obviously, have a quick chat about how we think teams have done so far this half of the season. Have you got a player of the week?
No, but I can think of one.
I can think of one. I can think of only one, to be totally honest. What do you mean, oh really?
Oh yes.
What
this is the level of intelligence that I'm going to bring to this podcast.
Can't wait. What about a standout moment? Too much to ask?
I think I've got one.
Okay, good, thank God. I won't push you for a team of the week because I know how difficult it was to see absolutely every single game for us this weekend.
Yeah.
So we will have a little chat. I'll get you to give me a couple of sentences on how you think each team has done so far and where they might improve. You don't have to go into too much depth. And then we'll have a quick look as well at the FA Cup fourth round draw was made. A couple of tasty fixtures in there, which I'm looking forward to seeing. And of course, we've got a few little any other business bits and pieces to run through. But as ever, we'll try, probably fail, and keep it short, sharp and sweet. Right, to run through WSL weekend results in case you were living under a rock. Everton 1, Arsenal 3. Hayashi, McCabe, Russo and Smith with the goals. Brighton 0, Chelsea 3, Baltimore, Hayes on goal and Thompson scoring. Leicester 1, London City 0. O'Brien with the only goal there. Manchester City 6, Aston Villa 1. Bunny Shaw, Fagino, Miedema and Parker with the goals. I don't know what you call 4 goals. I know a brace and I know a hat-trick, so I don't know what else to say.
Are you sure you got the number of shows right?
Yeah, I count on my fingers. If you scroll back, you'll see that. West Ham 2, Liverpool 2. Ueki, Chiki, Enderby and Olsen with the goals. And then Manchester United 3, Tottenham 3. England, Sumanen, Thomas, Toon and Rolfo with a brace. Is there a word for 4 goals?
No.
Okay, so it's not like in golf where you've got a bogey, a par, a birdie and an eagle. An albatross. We don't. Someone make one up. Because surely it happens.
A shaw.
A shaw.
Or a bunny.
Oh, I like that. Yeah, let's start calling it a bunny. When someone scores 4 goals, it's a bunny. Not sure it's going to happen that often. Okay, WSL table means it looks like this. Into the end of 2025, going into the start of 2026, Manchester City remain on top of that Christmas tree with 30 points. Chelsea behind on 24 points. Arsenal are on third on 22 and Manchester United in fourth on 21. Liverpool remained at the bottom on 3 points with West Ham just above them on 5. There were opportunities there, guys, to put a little bit of space between you, and you said no. Now, just to show how all over the place I am, I have not done my usual reminder to make sure you're subscribed wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening to this podcast before we get into the meaty details of it all, Sophie. And make sure you're following us as well across all of our socials. We are at Girls on the Ball, and we're doing some vote stuff this week. We're getting you to vote for some of your favourite things are we going to say this season? This year, 2025. So we need you to kind of send in some of your favourite things. This is not like a Sound of Music thing. This is actual football related. But we'd love to hear from you. And then we're going to pick out who wins each category and reveal at the end of the week. So get on it. Right, let's get into it very quickly. Arsenal, Everton kicked us off on Saturday at Goodison Park. There was a wild, 4 minutes in this game?
Yeah.
Where everyone just, there was the most incredible goals and the most ridiculous goals.
Defending went out the window and the most ridiculous goals happened, yeah.
There was a Katie McCabe one that came from, I think there was a good block. There was a bit of save. Courtney Brosnan had come off her line to make an initial kind of attempt at a block. And what was really clever from McCabe, who picked it up outside the box, was that Courtney Brosnan was kind of running back across her goal to the right, and she sent it into that kind of far left corner. And it was one of those, do you remember that one she did a number of years ago where when she hit it, it was real Irish. She just put her hands on her hips like that and just kind of watched it. It was one of them where you knew it was going in.
She knew as soon as it left her boot where it was heading. And I think Courtney Brosnan, poor thing, knew exactly where it was going as well. She's faced enough of those shots in training. Or watched Katie do it enough times for Ireland to know that I was heading somewhere where she couldn't reach it.
Yes, well, McCabe gave it the big uns with the Arsenal fans, but had very little time to actually enjoy it because then Hayashi went down and scored an absolute worldie as well. Unbelievable goal.
Yeah, really good. Hannah Hayashi is one of the more underrated players in the league. I think probably just where she plays and who she plays for. She doesn't get talked about a lot, but she's an absolute never gives up, works tirelessly for the team, can fill in multiple positions. So she's mainly a midfielder, but she does the work of protecting that kind of left back area as well when the left back surges forward. Very, very clever, very intelligent, and gets herself in goal scoring positions as well. So I've loved her since she played for West Ham. I think she's been brilliant, and Everton have a gem on their hands with her and a brilliant shot as well.
Yeah, it was lovely. I would say she barely had time to celebrate that because then there was a bit of a calamitous goal. There was a bit of a scramble in the box, and it eventually came across to Russo, who, fair fucks to her, chested it in towards goal, which I thought was pretty impressive. It looked as though Courtney Brosnan had made this unbelievable...
Yeah, she did the proper
clawing save. And I think had she been maybe 2 inches further forward, it wouldn't have been a goal. But it came, unfortunately for her, her claw kind of came straight back out into the path of Caitlin Ford and she rifled it home. And for a minute, we all thought Ford had scored, but actually the lino had immediately put his flag up because it had gone in from Russo's chest, which was a goal on her 100th appearance.
Yeah.
51 goals in 100 appearances for Arsenal.
Pretty good return. I mean, it's not going to be the same return as the next striker that we talk about or one of the next strikers that we talk about, but it's still pretty good for a player like Alessia Russo who, isn't she's not a 20 goal a season player, but she brings so much to the team and she is included in goals from the very beginning, not just the assist or the end product. She works so hard for the team. Her intelligence in terms of finding the space, working the channels, knowing when to drop deep, knowing when to sit in the box. She's one of the best at what she does. Plays in the 10 a lot as well, so that also will bring down her goal scoring. But I think she's incredible, and she is. Arsenal build their football around Alessia Russo. And when the problem with Alessia is you need other players to step up and kind of make those runs. You need the midfielders to make the runs into the box and to be scoring the goals that she isn't scoring because she's working so hard in other areas of the field.
I think the problem is that there are a number of fans who simply think if a player isn't scoring loads of goals, then they're shit. And there's a little bit more to it than
the
that.
way that she knows how to activate a press. She did taste tempo going forward. The way that she can switch just like that into the 10 and the 9. We know another one who's a bit like that. Who's definitely like that. Who's the best in the world at that, I think, switching between the 10 and the 9. I think Alessia is just incredible.
If you don't believe us or other media, just listen to how former players or current players speak
Esme
about
Morgan on Sky at the weekend was superb, I thought, Esme Morgan. But she was also so the way she explained what Alessia Russo does for a team and what it's like being her teammate.
So interesting.
I think everyone should go and have a listen to that.
Esme Morgan and Emily Orman, I thought both of them have been really good in the kind of co-comms analysis roles of late. So really enjoyed them. Anyway, the game then kind of, not to say went to sleep a little bit, but Arsenal struggled to break down. Everton were difficult to break down. The kind of usual that you're maybe expected from them. And then Olivia Smith came on and just scored an absolute unbelievable goal. That seems to be the only type of goal she's scoring at the moment, which, I mean, fair enough. But it kind of, the ball came in at a height to her and She barely had a bounce. She had it on the volley in the back of the net. Like
Yeah. The way that she adjusted her body to hit it and to get that kind of direction on it was incredible. We all know what she can do from range, but yeah, I thought that was pretty incredible. I felt really bad for Courtney Brosnan because there were some criticisms of the goalkeeper. There was nothing she could do about it.
Bounced right in front of her.
It bounced right in front of her, and it just takes all of the prediction out of the ball.
Yeah.
And it was just it just was that getting that bounce perfect and into the back of net, special goal.
I think probably a tall order to expect Everton to be able to beat Chelsea and then go and beat Arsenal the very next week. I think perhaps if those games had been spread out a little more, they might have been able to pull something out of the bag again. But overall, I'm not going to ask you to give a grade because I think we'll do that at the end of the season. But can you give me like a school report type, could do better type, those type of lines? What would you say for Arsenal?
Arsenal started really well, ended really well, had a bit of a dip in the middle of the first part of the season.
Can do better?
Can do better. Need to be more decisive.
Bit more focus in class. Okay.
Yeah, a bit
Everton?
more focus in class. But they're not as bad as some people make us believe, I think.
Okay, well that's like saying some of the other teachers give you not nice things, but actually I think you're a good student all around.
Yeah.
Is that what you're getting at? Right, okay.
Just not excelling at the very top.
I like that. Everton?
Everton, again, could do better. Hampered by injury, so having to have people step in for each other and step up, and that resilience is a good characteristic to have, but need to be more focused on the teams in and around them, and understanding how to beat them, rather than just figuring out how to get a result against the top four.
Exactly. Bit more consistency in performance, please, Everton. Okay, let's move on to Brighton Chelsea. We did this game. I would say maybe what I expected a bit, but kind of maybe not what I expected, in that in the past, especially at home, Brighton have been able to put up a bit more of a fight against Chelsea. But then equally, I think I kind of alluded to this when I was interviewing Dario beforehand, playing a Chelsea that have just come off the back of an 34-game unbeaten run, and a 6-0 win midweek, is kind of like the worst time to play them.
Brighton did really well for the first 42 minutes. They actually nullified Chelsea to just 2 shots on target. I think they were both Kira Walsh efforts. Good saves from Sophie Bagley. But other than that, Chelsea didn't create all that much. They were getting good build-up, but they weren't really doing anything in and around the box. But when that wonder hit from Sandy Baltimore went in, that kind of just changed the game, and the fact of the timing of it as well, I think, was key. It was 42nd minute, so 3 minutes before half-time. They conceded then, again, 6 minutes after half-time. And the timing of those 2 goals just completely knocked the stuffing out of Brighton. So I think, but that being said, Brighton didn't offer anything at all. They were sitting back, they were trying to defend Chelsea, keep the spaces compact. And you have to be super on your game if you're going to do that. Have a bit of luck as well. And that just wasn't coming for them that day. Like it was, say, for Everton the last week, where the ball was going anywhere but in the back of the net. So, yeah. I don't think they'll take too much stall from that game. I think Dario was disappointed.
He was, but he was pretty conciliatory in his post-match and just said some days,
Erin Cuthbert made such a difference.
She was fantastic. Emily Orman called her a hoover in midfield, which I really enjoyed. Not only does she do some really good stuff on the ball, but she just cleans up any kind of mess or issues or lost possession or whatever.
Sets
you can really
the foundations for the attackers to go do that.
Great for Chelsea to have her back. But Dario did say there's just some days you kind of have to hold your hands up and just say, either a team has played really well, or that Sandy Baltimore goal, it was coming. She tried that at least twice.
It doesn't always have to be a narrative to things.
No.
I think not saying this about you, but I think in general, we try and find narratives in everything.
Deeper meaning from results.
We were saying this from the England games. Everyone was trying to overanalyze the England-China result, and they're just really, sometimes they're just, it's just a good game of football.
And I think
the best team on the day wins.
Yeah, and you could see towards the kind of 70-plus minute, Brighton were kind of out on their feet a little bit, and Chelsea were bringing on Sam Kerr and, players like that where you're they can just then up the tempo rather than just sustain it, which is what Brighton were struggling to do.
And Kiko Seiko wasn't on her day.
Nah.
she was having a lot of frustration up front.
So overall, scorecard-wise, what would your kind of top-line school report be for Chelsea?
Chelsea, I think, they're a hard one because they're diligent and they get the job done, but they haven't been at their A-star best yet.
Okay.
So, like...
That's fair.
I wouldn't know how to put that in a report card.
You're doing the hard work, but struggling a little bit with the tougher challenges.
Yeah,
But
maybe.
we know that you're a very hard-working student who will do well when it matters.
Yeah.
Is that a bit fair?
Maybe. Yeah.
All right. Well, second in the league, so they won't be very happy with that. And 6 points behind, which is very unusual, and not scoring a lot of goals as well. So score more. Maybe put that on the scorecard, the school card. Brighton.
Yeah, I think if you compare it to last season, you'd probably be disappointed and say they haven't been good enough. But I think there are very clear improvements in certain aspects of the game. Last year we didn't, certainly in the first half of last season, we didn't see a lot of the out of possession work. I think they've got a lot better at that. I think Caitlin Hayes and Minami have brought in massive defensive capabilities and experience, alongside Nadozie as well. Kind of changed that back line, and they're very, very resolved and resolute in what they do. And then you've got a player like Kiko Seke, but they are being hampered by injury as well.
This is it. And I think it's important to point out, to lose a player like Michelle Adjimang, like Fran Kirby is having her minutes managed, who's probably one you really want to rely on in those difficult moments. So, this is a really weird... If I got this school report card, I'd be like,
I'm not
what
doing
are you on about? But I would say there are improvements to be made. We know you're working hard, and we appreciate that, and we hope in 2026 you can get more players back to kind of help you on with that hard work and deliver a few more better performances. What do you think?
Yeah.
We'll go with that. These are just, off the top of my head. We have not prepared this, as you can obviously tell in very clearly.
You just bounced it on me as soon as I sat down, so...
Would you rather go into detail about each game? No. So, pipe down. Right. Leicester 1, London City 0. Perhaps not the most exciting game of the weekend. Scrappy old goal from O'Brien, who won't care because they all count, and she's been pretty important for Leicester of late in terms of goals because they're not scoring a huge amount of them. And then London City, conversely, will be incredibly frustrated, I think, to lose to Brighton, having played so well against them and created a lot, to then come to Leicester and lose, especially when you get a penalty with literally the final kick of the game, and it's saved.
It was a really bad penalty.
It wasn't a great penalty.
It was not.
However, goalkeeper saved it in that moment up against Kosovaya Slani. I'd be bricking it.
Yeah, she went the right way, but it was
soft.
Yeah, it was a soft
placement,
penalty.
not power.
A really good 3 points for Leicester, I think, to get back to winning ways, get to 9 points, up to 9th in the table. I think everyone thought they'd be right at the bottom. Yeah. So I think they've done a pretty good job under Rick Passmore so far. A really vital win for Leicester. They're second of the season, up to 9 points, 9th in the table. Really decent return under Rick Passmore, very steady going. Yeah, they've not overly impressed in terms of, maybe overly excited, but I think everyone thought they'd be rooted to the bottom at the start of the season, especially given what happened 10 days before pre-season with Omandine being sacked and everything like that. So I think he steadied the ship a bit.
Yeah, but I will say what they've been good at this season is what they were good at last season. So that was the area that was being worked on and improved under Omandine. I'm still sore about Omandine.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think maybe from a report card point of view, I think maybe you're kind of focusing on fewer subjects and maybe you could expand your focus a little bit. And in terms of attacking maybe a little bit more, score a few more goals. I guess that's also down to squad depth, injuries that they've been dealing with. But overall, solid enough for maybe what was expected of them thus far. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah.
They'd be delighted to finish with a win as well, especially against London City. And that's the thing, playing teams in and around you.
Yeah.
London City, new student. No one really knew what to expect from new student.
Excelled in the early stages and then... petered out a little bit.
But perhaps excelled more than we were expecting for a new student. And especially with a lot of, I'm really dragging this out, new subjects that you haven't really studied before. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but you get what I mean. A lot of new players, new manager, new league, a lot of new things. And I think they've probably overachieved from what we expected. That'd be fair to say.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the quiet game that was Manchester City, Aston Villa. Bunny Shaw not only got her 100th goal, but 101, 102 and 103. She had an absolute stormer of a game. But I will say about 50 odd minutes in, it was like 2-0. You just kind of thought this is going to be a normal game. You would not think that it was going to end 6-1.
6-1, yeah. Aston Villa kind of fell apart a little bit in terms of the latter stages of the game. Bunny Shaw was on the money, completely on the money. She is probably one of the best, if not the best striker in the world right now. I only say one of the best because I'm thinking about Eva Payol, and she's incredible too. So it's probably between those two. But yeah, she's incredible. 120 appearances, 103 goals. That's ridiculous. So yeah, she brings so much out of the City team, and it's not just about her goals. She is an incredibly complete striker.
Yeah.
So.
And I think as well, I was saying this on up front, the kind of, with Miedema being back fit, I think Miedema started 11 of 11 games, but she's no longer just relying on, say, balls from the width, which is obviously great. Lauren Hemp is back from injury, etc. Carolyn's back, Virginia's having a good season, but now she's getting fed by Miedema, who's one of the best number 10s in that position, knows exactly where to put a ball for a number 9 because she's one of the best number 9s.
That pass for Virginia's goal was insane.
Peak Miedema. So it's very nice to see them linking up. They were interviewed together post-match. It was a really nice interview, and you can tell that they're really enjoying playing together.
I saw a tweet saying, I can't remember who it was from, saying, so we're going to call them Shawdemar or Mida Shaw?
Oh, we had this conversation on up front, and I came up with a good name, which I can't remember. It might have been Shawdemar. I think it might have been Shawdemar. I came up with some weird ones before that, but yeah, there needs to be some sort of ship name. I'm not going to get into that now because I just think Shawdemar is probably the best option. Let us know if there's a better option. But no, I think very nice to see Bunny happy, you know, in terms of how she's playing. The kind of, she has that drive that, like, even when she might be going through what would be considered a dry spell for Bunny, which is maybe 1 goal a game, she has that determination that she just keeps going. You never really see her get too frustrated in games where she might be missing opportunities. And I think that's a testament to her character and what she's like as a striker. And it's why she's scoring multiple goals a game. I think she's 12. She got 12 goals this season. The next player has 5.
Yeah.
She's 7 ahead and we're 11 games in.
I mean, 4 of those came...
Still. That's insane. Like, that's mental. Anyway, Aston Villa won't be pleased with that. They obviously had that midweek game against Liverpool, which they won 3-0.
It was a bit too much for them to play that close together, and
yeah,
they're not used to that at the moment.
Especially coming up against a Manchester City who are going to make you run and who are going to press you.
I think Natalia was really nice about Bunny and saying how...
I really liked her post-match.
She was just almost like in awe of her in terms of what she was doing.
She was saying it was a privilege to have to play against players like that and have to try and deal with those challenges. And I just thought, you know, that's how you take a defeat graciously, I should say. That's how you're humble in your post-match. I just thought she's another nice addition to the league as well. Speaks really well. Natalia Arroyo, we've said it before, she used to be a footballer and she used to be a journalist, and I actually think that really comes across. Players have said it really helps them as players knowing that she used to play. And for us, knowing she used to be in the media, she knows kind of what's expected from her when she's interviewed, so that's really nice. But in terms of Manchester City, gold star, A star, keep doing what you're doing. High flyer, head and shoulders above everyone else in the class at the moment, and your new manager is doing a grand old job. Mm-hmm. So keep going. I hope the break hasn't come at the wrong time for you. Aston Villa, improvements needed, but there are a lot of improvements that we've seen since last season, and I think they've been difficult at times to beat, but they struggle a bit to win.
Consistency.
Yeah.
Consistency.
I feel like that's going to be we could just write one report card for like half the teams in this league. But yes, I think there have been some, like, I was impressed with the 3-0 win over Liverpool. I think that showed a little bit of ruthlessness we've not really seen from them so far this season. Now these two students.
Don't want to be separated.
These two students, always talking in class, won't leave each other alone, can't go anywhere without each other. It's West Ham Liverpool. It ended 2-2. Liverpool ended with 10. Absolutely ridiculous. I found someone who thought it was a red card, who said to me, red card all day. Can you guess who?
Rhiannon Skinner.
Chloe Morgan.
Oh.
Chloe Morgan. All day she said it was a red card.
It was never
She
a red
went
card.
flying in, reckless, nowhere near the ball. And I was like...
That's not why she was sent off.
No, I know.
Does she know that?
No, well, I said it was for denying a goal-scoring opportunity. And it wasn't denying a goal scoring opportunity because Jenna Clark was ahead of the two of them.
Yeah.
So
it was never a red card.
No.
It was a yellow card.
Yeah.
It also wasn't a reckless challenge. I mean, she was reckless in the way she did
silly.
it, but
It was clumsy.
It wasn't studs up or anything.
No. So anyway, that was I did tell Chloe that she was the only person I knew who thought it was a red. So I'd love to know what you guys think in the comments.
Wasn't a red
but
card.
it did say that she was sent off for denying a goal scoring opportunity. So and
that's why she was sent off.
And that in itself is wrong because Jenna Clark was ahead of them both. Anyway, it made a hard day for Liverpool even harder, especially off the back of a difficult loss to Aston Villa. They would have been really disappointed with that. And again, it's another example of playing games close together. I think with the squad, the light squad that they have, the injuries they're dealing with, that was a huge ask for them. And Gareth Taylor did say that this period was going to be really, really difficult for them. And I really think it's just about getting to the January window. Conversely, West Ham are honestly their own worst enemies, I think, at times this season. And at times only have themselves to blame for kind of throwing away leads. There was a chance here. They created plenty to win the game. Really minimised Liverpool's opportunities. Understandably, they're a player down, but that can be hard to break down as well.
It can be, but they just completely lost concentration in the end.
I think the goal that they conceded towards the end was a complete mistake within the team. And they'll be if you lost it a different way from just an amazing bit of skill or a super pass or whatever, maybe you could stomach it better. But to lose it from a bad back pass that was really unnecessary. At the timing it did, to land at the feet of Beata Olsen, who is the last person you want the ball. She ain't going to miss. She scored 5 and 6 now?
Yeah.
That's a ridiculous return for a youngster who probably wasn't expected to be playing so much. So shout out to her because she's really doing a job for Liverpool when they need her most. I know it's not always turning into points, but she is hugely important to them. But yes, West Ham and Liverpool, as ever, would not be separated. And you can even see it from the goals. West Ham scored in the 57th minute, and literally from the kickoff of that setup.
It's fascinating because it has to be a mental piece.
Yeah.
It has to be the mental side of the game. It happens too often for it not to be that side of the game. And that's something that Rihanna and her staff really need to focus on because you're just going to end up... It was the same against Leicester City. They were so dominant in that second half against Leicester City, didn't take their chances, and then a lapse of concentration and suddenly Leicester get the equaliser with
the last kick of the
game, pretty much. So it keeps happening. It's a recurrent theme, and that has to be a worry because you get 3 points on this day and you're pretty much clear of Liverpool. I think it was that kind of quintessential 6-pointer.
It feels like one of those report cards where you send a kid home and you're like, look, you need to pay more attention in class. You need to focus more, but we believe in you and we see the potential you have. But you just need to give yourself more of a chance.
Yourself better.
Apply yourself. That's it. Apply yourself better. Both of you. But Liverpool, I understand with all the injuries.
Liverpool, I think, are gritty and resilient and show character in the way that they fight against the odds. And, they've done that not just against West Ham this weekend. Against Chelsea, against Arsenal, they played pretty well. They dig in deep. They just don't have enough about them at the moment.
For 90 minutes.
For 90
plus. Absolutely. Okay, probably the most exciting game of the weekend, which had us on the edge of our seats. I'm so glad this was the kind of later kickoff. Manchester United 3, Tottenham 3. Despite Mark Skinner insisting this wasn't any sort of rivalry, it was Martin Ho coming back to Manchester United, having been the assistant coach there. So there was definitely some tastiness to this fixture. And I don't think it was something Mark was necessarily looking forward to. He just from his pre-match and post-match press conference, they'd obviously had that game against Lyon. This is a difficult period for Manchester United, obviously being in Champions League, and now they've got the League Cup the weekend as well with Champions League midweek. They are juggling and rotating, but they are through. And in spite of what Mark said, I don't believe that he rested a lot of those players against Lyon in order to deal with Lyon's physicality. I think he rested them because they wanted to win this Tottenham game, because they knew Tottenham were close to them in the table. It would be important for them to get a nice cushion going into the winter break in the league, and that did not happen.
And he wanted to beat
Martin. Of course he did. But, in terms of priorities, you're going to prioritise the WSL when you've already gotten through to the knockout stage of the Champions League. And that's fine. That's an absolutely fine thing to kind of say. It's really hard to describe this game because United started well, they had possession, they had chances, they hit every bit of woodwork on the frame of the goal, I think. And this isn't a new thing, they were not being clinical with the opportunities they were creating. Conversely, Tottenham had 5 shots, they scored 4 goals, had 5 shots, 4 on target and 3 goals, which is a ridiculous return. And we have seen that Tottenham have been much more defensively solid this season. But for a good chunk of the beginning of the match, they couldn't get out of their own half.
Yeah. But they took their opportunity when it came. And it was a bit like Everton, I know, different performance, but a bit like Everton the weekend before, where they had the one opportunity and they took it. And that's what you need to do against these top sides. Yes, there is a gap in a way between the two. That's quite natural because Tottenham are, a younger, not younger in terms of history, but kind of a younger team in terms of...
Well, they've got a new manager in and everything. United are a lot more settled.
In terms of where they are in their journey right now.
Yeah.
They've been flipping about a bit. They've not really found that structure yet. And under Martin Ho, they seem to be, as they did under Robert Villaham in the first year, seem to be finding that form and potential. But they are still very early in that Martin Ho journey, whereas under Mark... Man United are more established and they're playing European football and they are the older sister in a way.
Yeah, but it did feel a bit like you could feel maybe a little bit the tension in the Manchester United squad as the game went on and they just could not seem to get the ball in between the 2 posts.
Yeah.
And they were getting frustrated and you could kind of feel that, I don't know if they came half-time, whether the talk was frustrated, but they just seemed to be kind of getting really irritated and stressed about the fact that the ball wasn't going in.
I would be too if I'd hit the bar 4 times.
I know, but I will say that I thought the introduction of Friedlin and Rolfo and Leah Galton kind of changed that game. The mentality they brought on was almost a bit like, we've got this, guys. Like, even though they were 3-0 down, they brought on maybe a bit of a calmness. And honest to God, as soon as that Everton goal went in, I just thought Tottenham sat back too early.
I'm going to be harsh on Tottenham.
They sat back so early.
They gave the points away in a way.
Yeah.
And that's not to take anything away from Manchester United's comeback. But when you're 3-0 up and you keep doing the same things that lead to goals, why are you letting Jess Park run all the way to the edge of the box? You're just asking for trouble. Like, put in a tackle, take her out, not viciously.
No, but put in the tackle.
Just stop her.
Yeah.
Stop anyone advancing that far. Defend from further forward rather than letting everyone... And then when they get 1 goal... and you continue to do that, and you don't push out, and you continue to be deep, you're just inviting the pressure onto yourself. The opposition get,
wind in their sails, confidence.
That's the word. Wind in their sails to keep going, go forward, and that they've got a real chance of getting this back. And you're just going we're just going to put ourselves under pressure. The amount of,
You were getting so frustrated.
The defender was just... I don't know how to say this. It was shite.
Yeah, they shat the bed. I think Martin Ho was saying, maybe it was one of the commentators, which is a fair point, but I do think the mentality side to a game like this is fascinating because you've got a side like Manchester United who are so frustrated and feel a bit like they're pulling out their hair going, how do we get back into this? How quickly that momentum shifts. And Tottenham almost, I think what the analyst said was, they've never been in this position before. They're 3-0 up against Manchester United. And it was almost a bit like they were like, shit, how do we see this out? What do we do? And you're like, how do you forget to football?
You have enough experience on that pitch to calm everyone down, to put in the challenger. Drew Spence, make a tackle. Ashley Neville, make a tackle. Molly Bartrip, just slow everything down a bit, take the sting out of the game. If you go down, and I don't advocate for this, but if you go and have a challenge and you go down for a bit, you're starting to waste the time, and it's just that game experience, right?
Yeah, it was...
managing a game, and they just had none of that whatsoever. They just kept allowing these waves of United...
She was just on the couch going, stop letting her run forward.
Why are you doing this? And I don't know why no one was changing it, because I was like, this is the most... Oh, sorry, I'm getting really...
You're going to lose your voice before they get to the end of this podcast. But yeah, it was a very hair-pulling out game. But equally for Manchester United to come back after 3-0 down was incredible. Friedlin and Rolfo getting both her first and second goal. Perfect timing, by the way.
I think there is a point to say about United's defending recently. Hasn't been the same as what it was. I don't know why.
Yeah, they've conceded in the last 7 games, I think, for the first time now.
So that used to be their real hallmark.
Yeah.
So tight defence.
Yeah.
But there seems to be a few weak links, and maybe that's with the transition to becoming more of a different attacking kind of team. I don't know. But
Or it could be that juggling of so many games that being concentrated for 90 plus so frequently.
Like, I don't advocate rotation like Chelsea rotate necessarily. But, like, you've got Letizia and you've got Janssen playing every single game.
Yeah.
There isn't a lot of options, so they're having to play every single week. And that just takes it out of your legs, I guess.
Okay, I would say for Tottenham, big improvement from last year. Keep up the good work.
Most improved student.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, and for Manchester United?
Um,
They've taken on a bigger workload this year, to be fair.
Yeah, you've taken on more responsibility. So stepping up, but you need to look after yourself a bit more.
Keep putting in the hard work.
And you need to put on the resources of those around you, the board, to persuade
To
them
be fair, Mark has been very vocal.
Yeah. No, Mark,
every opportunity. So
Mark's doing the work in terms of calling out the board. He just needs to
we are expecting
get some support.
You
need the headmistress to give the support.
Yeah, where are those resources? Okay, player of the week, please.
Bonnie Shaw.
Come on, it's got to be.
I mean, there's no one else. It's got to be. You did, yeah. If you score 4 goals and don't get player of the week, you're right.
But not even, just all-round performance and the 100th goal and 1 and 2 and 3.
Celebration, the Haaland celebration.
There was a wholesome moment where they had a video for her. Like, everyone was just so happy for her. That whole just moment was really nice and wholesome. I was saying to Chloe, I kind of wish I was at the Joy Stadium this week. It looked like a really nice place to be.
They had a Santa race at half-time.
Did they?
Yeah, I think Emma Sanders put up a video.
Oh, my
God. Maybe I imagine it hallucinated this or something. But there was definitely a race with people wearing Santa beers at halftime.
Love that. And everyone's wearing Christmas jumpers as well, which is cool. All right, standout moment?
I'm going to go with... Oh, this is hard. Tied between Katie McCabe's strike, because I just think that was world class.
That one.
And Fridolina Urolfo's equaliser in the 94th minute. Her run-in at the far post. Yes, the defending was shocking. All the way through that last 20 minutes or whatever. But... it was a really smart run, and she was playing more centrally. And normally we see her out on the...
Yeah, but also it's just cool to see someone kind of that's come in and has this weight in their shoulders, a big name, big player, like have an impact like that.
It was her first 2 WSL goals.
So that was cool. Good one. All right, I'm going to have to pick up my laptop for this because there was FA Cup also at the weekend, which is why we're not doing a WSL 2 results roundup. But I am going to read through the FA Cup 4th round draw very quickly. And it looks like this: Charlton versus Swindon, AFC Bournemouth versus Manchester City, Ipswich Town versus Sheffield United, Oxford United versus Middlesbrough, Chatham Town versus York City, Arsenal versus Aston Villa. You'd be raging if you're either of them teams, wouldn't you? Manchester United versus Burnley, Southampton versus Bristol City, London Bees versus Liverpool, Tottenham versus Leicester. You'd be raging for either of those two. Brighton versus Nottingham Forest, Chelsea versus Crystal Palace, Newcastle United versus West Ham, Sunderland versus London City, West Brom versus Everton, and Hull City versus Birmingham City. The one that kind of stands out for me is AFC Bournemouth hosting Manchester City.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big game. Bournemouth have big ambitions and they're high-flying at the moment at the top of the Southern Premier, I think. So obviously City will be the favourites, but it will be a big day on the South Coast.
I love that. That's the proper FA Cup
I imagine
clash.
they'll put it in the big stadium.
Yeah, love that. Okay, any other business? Hannah Hampton has been named FIFA Best Goalkeeper of the Year. Congratulations. I promise the Kirsty Hansen pod is going to come out this week. It's been a big chunky edit for me and we've had loads on, but I'm really excited to release it because she was brilliant. Champions League, of course, this week. Manchester United, Chelsea and Arsenal all in action, but all through.
All through, just like vying for places. Wanting to get the top 4, probably Chelsea the most likely to get that. Although they do have a tricky trip away to Wolfsburg. So that means you qualify directly for the round of 16.
Yes.
The others will go into the playoffs. If you finish in the next batch of 4, so the top 8, you get seeded for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And the next 4, the bottom 4 of the 12, are unseeded. So you want to finish as high up the table as possible, essentially.
Cool. I totally followed all of that.
Arsenal will probably have the easiest game of the lot.
Well, now you said that.
United are going to Juventus.
Now you've said that.
Juventus.
Have you seen Arsenal this
jinx
season?
things.
You do.
I don't.
I do, actually.
You do,
We
I
need
don't.
to explore that. Okay, also, of course, this weekend we've got the League Cup quarterfinals. Manchester United facing Tottenham again. They're They'll be delighted. Arsenal versus Crystal Palace, Liverpool versus Chelsea, and West Ham versus Manchester City.
Sorry, we won't be doing those games. It's very unusual for us, but we didn't actually expect there to be games next weekend. And my rather large extended family are doing a Christmas party.
And my, I was going to say rather large brother, but I don't think he'd appreciate that. My brother and his girlfriend he's very tall, are also coming to visit and will also be going to that party. So we can't really just say no to any of that group. And I don't think we should.
You have to prioritise that
around Christmas.
We're not very good at that.
No, we're not. Okay, I think that's everything. If it's not, I'm sorry. We're running on about 4 hours of sleep and we're a little bit hyper, just trying to stay awake. But it's been a mad week, a busy week. We are desperately looking forward to the winter break. Cannot wait for it. I hope you guys have some nice things planned, whether you're working or celebrating or not. Hopefully you've got a few nice things planned over this winter break when there's less women's football to be watching. If you're subscribed and following us, then you'll be on top of everything. But we will chat to you all again very soon.